Hi, I'm Amy.
And I'm Kirsty.
And this is our podcast covering the highs, lows, and realities of parenting a child with neurodiversity.
Each week we'll be sharing updates from our lives and hearing from a variety of guests about their advice and experiences.
This is Love Needs No Words.
Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of Love Needs No Words. We wanted to start by saying thank you to all of our OGs, original followers, and new followers, of which there's been quite a few off the back of our recent guests, for supporting us over the last 6 months. We've really enjoyed interviewing all of our amazing guests, of which we hope were really helpful and insightful, and just nice to listen to as well as us waffling on in our episodes too, of course. We've got some great guests lined up in the new year, but as ever, if there's anyone specific you'd like us to get on, please feel free to send us a message on Instagram, love_needs_no_words. Kirsty, how has the last couple of weeks been for you, and how are you doing in the run up to Christmas?
We are limping through to Christmas.
Are you okay?
We are a one-legged pony right now. Yes, we're all fine, but it's all a bit interesting in our house. Yeah, I mean, just absolutely exhausted. We've got one very tired little boy who's just really ready for finishing school. I think, bless, everyone's just trying to get him through
Yeah.
the next week until the end of term, where he needs a really well-deserved break. I think this term has been really long, and I totally didn't get it before he went to school. I used to think, why do they have such long holidays? It's totally unreasonable. What on earth? But actually, they need
Totally
it.
get it now.
They really need it. Yeah. So, yeah, he's doing okay, but school's difficult at the moment. He's finding it hard to be in the classroom the majority of the time. Of something that I'm, being fed back. So that's quite difficult to hear, but I get it. And if I'm honest, I think I probably expected this to happen. I think we rode quite a good wave for a while, and then I think just the realities of the relentlessness of 5 days a week, which for Max has been a massive shock because he only did 3 days of nursery each week, and that was broken up with days off where he could rest. And like he used to have a Tuesday off nursery, and every Tuesday it would be quite chilled, and either my mum and dad or Max's dad would take him somewhere where he would inevitably end up falling asleep during the middle of the day, so he'd get a chance to rest. And yeah, I think he's just exhausted. So yeah, we're limping through to Christmas for 3.5 days left and fully on the countdown, to be honest.
Have they been sort of mentioned anything that they're going to put in place for him at school to kind of help with, what is it, just distraction mainly?
Not really distraction. I think he's just getting really dysregulated in the classroom. So he's just finding that he's needing quite a bit of time out to kind of recoup. But
Yeah.
I think the difficulty with that is obviously balancing the fact that he doesn't have one-to-one or any real additional kind of support from a teaching assistant. So that's obviously then putting pressure, and it's difficult for the school. So yeah, that's hard for them, I think, to manage at the moment. But yeah, mainly just dysregulation. I think 'cause he's full on tired. But one thing that has come out of it actually is that we've kind of identified that he needs more food during the day. So he was having an additional snack, but we're actually sending in he's going into school like a full-on packed lunch on top of his
Same as
lunch.
Alex, actually.
Yeah, he's not eating it all, but actually it's there. And because we got called in to school last week because he was just in a really bad place, and turned out I couldn't go because I was at work, but his dad went down, and he was hungry as well as tired, but he was really, really hungry. So ate 4 yogurts and then went back to class. So they've asked us to, well, we've kind of discussed it, and we've all agreed that sending in additional food is something that we can do, which is great because it's just a really reasonable adjustment that he needs. He does get really hungry, and he full on snacks all day when he's not at school. So it's not surprising really that he probably needs that and misses that when he's at school. And the other thing, they're trying to do more structured activities with him during sort of free play, because again, that's just something he doesn't find very easy. So that's an additional demand on him that's just adding really to his bucket overflowing. So yeah, so yes, we're all trying to kind of think up things to get him through, and then we're just going to assess how it goes in the new year when he's had a rest, to kind of determine whether this is him struggling in school, period, or whether it was because he's really tired and it's the end of term and he's just kind of exhausted, which, from actually having spoken to quite a few of my friends who don't have children with Sen, their children are on their knees as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a bit of a question mark at the moment, but hopefully, thinking positively, it might be more that he's just tired. And this might be something that we all need to be aware of sort of towards the end of any half term and term, that this is going to come up.
Well, that's great that they've put something in place with your support as well. And I think with anything, it takes a bit of time to realise if that is the thing. Like, it doesn't take just a few days. You kind of need to give it a bit of time to see whether or not it is that he's hungry. But Alex is the same. I've had to send in breadsticks with him to just keep him going throughout the day. But yeah, that's really good though that he's managing to get through. And how was his nativity? Because wasn't he? You weren't sure last time what he was.
Yeah,
meant
he
to
was
be.
he was a king. He was a king in the
Amazing.
nativity. He did a really good job.
Oh, good.
Yeah, he did such a good job. Well, all the children did a brilliant job. It was really sweet to see. But yeah, no, he did really well. I think there's also been a bit of a fallout from that as well. Just the week after he had the nativity, I'm guessing it was a combination of probably the come down from it, and also the fact that they then weren't rehearsing during school time. And again, that's all like a change of routine and what's happening. So there's a lot of off timetable, or it feels like there's quite a few activities that are sort of different to the norm. So that might be contributing as well. The thing is, it's a bit of a guessing game, or that's how I feel with it anyway. At the moment, we've also sent him in with a Chewy, which he's really taken to. Which 6 months ago, 9 months ago, we tried, and he really didn't like it. So kind of good one to note, that just because you've tried things before doesn't mean that they won't take to it a second time round. To be fair, it's a different shape. I think the first one was just too.
Yeah, I was going to say, where
Funded.
did you get it from? Is it an Amazon one or?
It was an Amazon one.
Yeah. What shape is it in? Because
It's like a pencil sort of shape, so it's quite
cool.
thin. Yeah, so he can literally just chew on it. Because they said that he was chewing the rubber bands that they use for the lunch, so he's obviously needing that sensory kind of. Yeah. And there's certain stims that he was doing that have been something that we've kind of been working with him on, and so I think he's kind of replacing like for like. Not that we don't want him to stim, or we're not accepting of that, but there was just one that we needed to look at when he was in the classroom. Redirect, I think probably.
Redirect, yeah. Completely get where you're coming from.
Yeah. Without going into too much detail.
And how are you feeling about Christmas? Are you all set?
Yeah. If you'd have asked me like 3 days ago, I'd have said no. But I love last minute.
Same, yeah.
I love the last minute like buzz of getting Christmas presents. The pressure of it. Basically, that's just me all over. I just need the pressure to actually achieve anything, action anything. Yeah. So now I feel like I'm in quite a good place, to be honest, for keeping it quite low key, because last year he got tons, and he probably will still get, a few. We're going to try and drip feed it throughout the day. Yeah, no, it should be nice. It'll be a quiet one because his dad's working. So this is my parents and my sister. So
Nice.
yeah, quiet one. But actually, I think that'll be really nice.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it. How's things with you?
All good. Do you know what? Aside from the house feeling very Christmassy and visiting Christmassy places, a lot of garden centres over the last few weeks. Love a garden
centres are brilliant.
That's so good. I feel really unprepared for Christmas. I'm yet to wrap anything, and I've still got things to buy this week. So yeah, this week's all about getting prepared and buying the last little bits I need. But I do love Christmas, and Alex is definitely understanding it more and more each year, which is really nice. Like, you can see he's actively getting excited by different things he's seeing in the garden centres, and like when we put the Christmas tree up, he was really excited that it was up. So yeah, that makes it so much more exciting. My birthday's on the 23rd of December. So
Christmas baby.
yeah, every year, even as a child, I felt so overwhelmed as it all comes at once. Birthday presents wrapped in Christmas paper growing up was the way.
Yes, I can imagine actually.
Yeah, not cool. Not
Not
cool.
cool.
But yeah, aside from getting ready for Christmas, I had the experience this year which I had dreaded was going to happen, which was the school WhatsApp group were all talking about the school play, and Alex wasn't in it. And John said at work that everyone was talking about their child's role and getting all excited, and he couldn't join in. And yeah, it's been really hard. Alex's school sort of kept him back from rehearsals and like any element of the nativity at all, which, you know, I knew he wouldn't have sat there and he wouldn't have verbally been able to take part. He does love singing and he loves music, but they use that time to do one-on-one stuff with him, which he would have really benefited from. And that's much more important than, you know, sitting still in a play that he can't verbally, you know, get involved in. And yeah, it's a really difficult one because it's really hard to accept, especially when on the WhatsApp group they're all talking about, oh, what time's it tomorrow, and you know, I'll put all the pictures up. You know, it's a lot of chat around it, and I know that during that time he would have been given some really, you know, important tasks to be doing, and his speech and language therapist came in a few times, sort of coincided with their rehearsals. So, you know, what he was doing was the right thing for him, but it doesn't make it any easier. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine for him it's it's ideal having one-to-one time, and
Yes.
it's a real, you know, benefit for him. But for you, you're very aware of the different side that you're currently sat on.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly that. And like, you know, the day they did the nativity, all the parents were arriving, you know, arriving to pick them up, and they were all talking about it, and you just feel very out of the loop, and it just feels sad. And yeah, it's important to say that, because the positive side of me will always be like, oh, it's all right, like, you know, I know he doesn't really know what's going on, it's fine, but it's
you do.
important. It's important that you say, no, it was actually really hard.
Yeah.
And it hurt a little bit. But I guess our biggest news is that we're on the hunt for a specialist school again. We had Alex's EHCP meeting a couple of weeks ago, and they started it with a really lovely montage to music of pictures of him over the school term, which was really lovely, and a lot of thought went into that. So I was really chuffed with that. And then they went on to say that he's doing really well and happy in the classroom, but come year one, if he's still at this level where he's non-verbal and, you know, he won't be able to understand to that level, he'll obviously be struggling in a learning environment, and that they felt he would be better placed in a setting that could help and support him.
How did that feel?
Well, do you know what? And I'll be honest, I did feel gutted. I know they're right, and I'd mentally prepared myself as well. When I went into that meeting, I was going to suggest that we discuss year one, because I didn't want it to be something that we waited right up until the last moment. But again, it was just one of those sad moments. They said that it doesn't mean that he won't catch up, because of course we know with autism, like, you just don't know. You don't know what like the next 6 months are going to bring, but he might not catch up. And I know how important it is to name a specialist school on an EHCP, an educational healthcare plan. For those listening that haven't got to this stage yet, buckle up. Enjoy the ride. But yeah, it's important to name the specialist school because A, for more funding, so the school will get more funding if we write that Alex needs a specialist school. But B, so we get the ball rolling for a school place, which, let's be honest, could take up to like 2 years. So we've moved county now, so we have a bit more of an option here, which helps. But it's just hard having to do it all again. It's
Yes,
such a
because you did
journey,
this
isn't it?
originally, didn't you, before? Yeah, so you've seen quite a few of the schools. Do you
Yeah.
think you'd go back now that it's almost a year later and see some of the ones that you saw previously? No.
No, all the
Mm.
ones that we saw, I genuinely felt that there was a lot of high needs there, and that Alex didn't need that level of need. And I'm probably one of many listening that Alex is very much in the middle. He hasn't got high needs. He doesn't need loads and loads of support with OT, etc. But then in a mainstream classroom, he's struggling because he's not verbal, and he can't sit down and do phonics, and he's not at the level where he should be now. So imagining him in a year's time, so he really needs somewhere that's like in the middle, which these
Yeah.
schools just don't exist anymore. Interestingly, like, his main teacher got really emotional in the meeting because she said she can see what he's capable of. When he does any one-on-one stuff with somebody, he can show you he can count to 10. He can spell his name. You could get a bag and put like 10 objects out and say, put the cow in the bag. So it's just, that's the emotional side, is that he is able to do these things. He just can't verbally communicate it. So it's really frustrating because, he, as I say, he's very much in the middle, and nowhere where we saw in the county we were in fitted him. But there are places where we've moved to where they have schools that focus on communication and interaction. Now, what that looks like when we go and look around, I don't know, and I have to be very open-minded. But that to me seems like somewhere that could work for him. But then you've got the fight of trying to get that through the system, because they will say, well, he can just go to the school that's local to you. Well, no, I don't think that's right for him. So I think I've got a massive fight on my hands, but finding the school, I guess, is the first hurdle that I need to do. And then it's fighting for that school for him, knowing that that's where I feel he should be. But in the meantime, knowing and comforted by the fact that he's in the best place for now, and they're doing everything they can to support him. They absolutely adore him. He is interacting with more of the children every week. He runs into school and he wears a backpack now. So this is something he didn't have before. I was carrying his bag and I was giving it to his teacher because I genuinely didn't think he would wear a backpack. I thought, oh, but he's seeing everybody else wearing a backpack. So I bought him his Hey Dougie backpack, which he loves. And I put it...
I can imagine.
Put him on his back. He looks like he's about to parachute out of an airplane, and off he goes. And he's so happy, and he like runs in every morning, and he's really regulated at the moment before school and after school, which shows me he is happy at the moment. And so I guess we feel comforted in the fact that he's in the best place whilst we have a look round. And as I say, they've not said, oh, that's it, off he goes to a school. They've not said that. They've just said, look, I think let's put a name down
just to start looking.
start looking.
It's really interesting. We're almost in polar opposite situations, because I would say Max is academically he's keeping up with phonics and such like. Handwriting's a tricky one, but it's the dysregulation. It's the fallout after school and obviously now in school as well. So I feel like we're in almost totally different situations, but equally
hard.
challenging. Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah. So I guess the upshot of it is we were all pushing for a one-to-one for Alex going forward as one of the main areas that we all feel like he could benefit from. So to just have somebody that's able to just put a bit more time in each day would be amazing. Do I think it will get through? No. But we've all pushed for it, and we're all trying. And again, if I have to fight that, I will, because one of the main areas concern, which I mentioned previously, is a sensory issue. So he keeps eating he kept eating the sand and the Play-Doh during every sensory play or anything he could get his hands on. In fairness to them, they can't be watching him all of the time. And so this was a good argument for a one-to-one as well, is that it's not fair on them, and it's a massive safety issue if he did eat too much of anything. So anyway, I'll keep you up to date with all of that. But yeah, a couple of new traits he's been doing actually. So stimming. So he's started putting his hands over his ears now and again, which is really new. So we're not sure if he's copying a little girl in his class or that he's putting his hands over his ears when he's anxious. So he's like coping with certain situations. So if anybody listening has had a child that's picked up a new stim or new traits, let me know, because it'd be really interesting for me to hear whether again they think it was a copying thing or not. But yeah, he's been doing it a bit, but also we've noticed that he's putting his hands over his ears and then trying to say words as well. So I don't know if it's sort of blocking out the noise to help him. Yeah. And he's been doing another stim where he sort of like points at the sky and then sort of like, I'm doing it so Kirsty can see, but he like points at the sky and then he sort of brings his finger down to his face. And again, they were,
Is it
yeah. And I don't know if it's like trying to focus, I don't know, but I mean, his hands have always been his stimming anyway, but yeah, he just keeps sort of flicking his hand up to the sky and then bringing it down to his face. I mean, it's just obviously just another stim that he's picked up. But yeah, I think other than that, everything else is okay. I'm like you, I'm so ready to finish work and have a Christmas break and just hope that he's okay over Christmas. We're spending a lot of time at my mum's where, as I say, we're most weekends. So I think that will help. Yeah, I think any sort of home environment or somewhere that they're used to just helps, doesn't it, with regulation. So
familiarity, isn't it?
but yeah, oh my God, both Kirsty and I's daughters go to the same nursery. I've had 4 notifications of illness from the nursery today: croup, scarlet fever, hand, foot and mouth, and high temperature. I'm absolutely terrified.
I would say the odds are severely in the favour of the viruses that one of them's going to get through.
Oh,
So what are we going to take out of the 4? Like,
right,
virus,
I'm going to go
bingo.
for,
I'm going to go for high temperature.
yeah, high temperature.
Cowpaw.
Alex loves a bit of croup. We've been in hospital so many times with
Yeah,
it.
you have, haven't you?
Yeah.
Has Izzy
she
had
got it
croup?
really bad. She did, yeah. But the thing is now I've become like the croup expert. So as soon as the seal bark starts to come in, I'm like, right, let's get them down the doctors before this gets too much. Because with Alex, it was 3 a.m. on the dot, couldn't breathe, like having to rush him to A&E. And the cold air, as soon as anyone needs any advice for croup, come my way. It's as soon as
You are the croup lady.
I'm the croup expert. As soon as you get out into the cold air, so he'd be in the back of the car and he'd gone from sort of gasping for breath to then he would just be like giggling along to whatever he was watching. And I was like, oh my gosh, what's happened? But it was just the air, like fresh air had sort of cleared his airways a bit. Croup's really scary. It always comes on in the middle of the night. And yeah, I just couldn't think of anything worse. Around Christmas, Alex did have it around Christmas once, so we were in on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. So I really don't want to have that again because it's not very nice. I don't know much about scarlet fever. I can't tell you about that. Hand, foot, and mouth. We've had a bit.
Oh, we've had that a few times with all the children, with both of the children. Yeah, that's not. I've had that as well. I caught that from Max.
Did you?
It was awful. No wonder they feel so unwell. I had blisters in my mouth. I had blisters on my hands and on my feet, but they were under the skin blisters, like tiny, tiny little blisters. Very uncomfortable. Yeah, I felt really rotten with it. So no wonder they feel so ill.
Oh.
Yeah, let's just pray that they get away lightly.
Yeah, or they don't get it at all.
I mean,
nice.
that would be winning, wouldn't it? Just trying to be realistic.
Oh my word! But have you got anything planned for New Year?
Actually, yes, we're going to my sister's on New Year's Day, so nothing in the evening. Nice. And honestly, I haven't got the energy. I don't have the energy. Again, it's like trying to keep to the routine as much as possible. If I started taking him somewhere and him staying up really late, to be honest, it wouldn't be good for either of mine. They are quite they're in quite a strict bedtime routine, just because that works for us. Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, for Max, there's obviously more benefits to it, but it more just works for us. We've kind of always been in it. So there's one upshot of that is that we get an evening, which is good. But the other sort of more downside is that we don't have a lot of flexibility with things like that. So no. What about you?
We're the same. We might have friends over. If so, it will be a late one. If not, bed by 10. And hopefully there's fireworks locally out the window. That would be the dream.
That would be nice. I'm just extremely excited for the Gavin and Stacey Christmas special.
I cannot wait.
I think I'm more excited for that than I am for Christmas.
I think a lot of people are, to be honest.
I've done the Gavin and Stacey advent calendar, so I've rewatched all of the episodes. That's been keeping me busy. And
where do you watch them?
iPlayer.
Oh my gosh! Right, I'm in. I'm jumping back in.
Yeah,
I love Gavin and Stacey. It's
incredible.
such a feel-good,
so good
program.
So good.
We watched Love Actually the other day, and that scene where she finds out that, when she opens the necklace box and it isn't for her. Oh, it's
I'm
such
so
an
angry with Alan Rickman about that all these years later. Poor Alan.
As a mum, this is what I love about the scene, is that we would all do the same. We'd realise, we'd have a little quiet cry, and then we'd come down and we go, right, kids, let's go. And you'd suppress every emotion that was going through your body for the kids. That's what I love about that scene.
Yeah, it's so accurate, isn't it?
Anyway, Cass, I hope you have an amazing Christmas.
Thank you. And you too.
Thank you. And to everyone listening, we're having a 2-week break now. And we've got some really brilliant guests lined up after Christmas, and we'll be back waffling on every couple of weeks. So yeah, we hope you all have a lovely Christmas. Thanks again for finding us on whatever platform you found us. We couldn't do this without you all. So thank you so much. We hope you have a calm Christmas, and I think we'll all be ready for the routine in the new year.
Yes, exactly. Enjoy your Christmas, whatever that might look like for you and your families. And we look forward to catching up in the new year.
Merry Christmas.
Happy Christmas. Bye.
Bye.